Hello everyone, my name is Akbar Adiwinata and I am a master student in English literature program in Bumigora University. And in this occasion, and also by this opportunity, I would like to present my presentation regarding the pragmatics topic, and it is about the Speech Act. Uh, in my presentation, I would like to explain deeply and more about the theory Speech Act that is conveyed and developed by Austin. But before we go further to the another slide and the other explanation about the Speech Act that is conveyed and explained by the Austin, first of all, we have to see and know general definition of the Speech Act itself. The first, according to the Alan Cruz, state that the Speech Act perform particular kinds of an action. And the second, Shirley proposed that the Speech Act is the basic unit of the communication. And also the last, Austin also says that the utterance, that is what the people say, are almost equivalent to the action. So regarding to these three scholars that have explained about the definition about the Speech Act, I try to conclude and try to make a conclusion that Speech Act theory is concerned with what people do with words, emphasizing on the function of the language. It is also considered and to say something, maybe to do something through the uttering. So when we see the definition about these several definitions about the Speech Act, we can make an underline about the Speech Act itself. First, when someone or when speaker try to make an utterance to a language when they are speaking to another person, it means they are not only speaking the utterance or the language, but they have an intention, which is, we know in the pragmatics, it is about the context in the language through the utterance they speaking about. Well, so in the second slide of my presentation, we try to see and to discover about the components of the Speech Act. Regarding to the Austin, which is the scholars who developed the theory of the Speech Act, there are three steps or three components about the Speech Act to know how the language conclude or has the action of the Speech Act. The first step is about the Locutionary Act, which is we try to know the exactly what the speakers convey through the language and the utterance when they are speaking. And the second step is the Illocutionary Act. In this step, the second step, through the language, we can see the intention of the speakers. So by Illocutionary Act, we not only know what the speakers clearly saying, but we try to understand and discover what the intention of the speaker. And the last step is Perlocutionary Act. It's about the act of the performance. When we try to discuss and talk about the Perlocutionary Act, it means the object or the focus of this step is to the listener of the utterance of from the speaker when we try to have a discussion or when they speak to the listener through the utterance of the speakers. And first, we go first to the Locutionary Act. We try to understand what the Locutionary Act is. So the Locutionary Act is a production of an utterance with a particularly intended structure, meaning, and reverence. The literal meaning of actual words, it means that the locutionary acts the actual words with the grammatical rules of a particular language uttered by the speaker in a conversation. And also, locution is a word, phrase, or expression that is spoken or written as well as its literal meaning or significance. In a simple way, locutionary act is the meaning of what a speaker say. As my previous year's explanation about the Locutionary Act, when we try to understand the utterance that the speaker tried to convey by looking through the Locutionary Act, it means we try to understand the word, and not only the word, and also the phrase, expression through the sentence when they are speaking to when they speak to the listener. By the language, we clearly understand what the speaker tried to convey. Here we can see the example. The first example is, I'd like to order a cup of coffee. It's mean when we see this utterance through the Locutionary Act, it means that the speaker wants to order a cup of coffee. We can see it's clearly through the speaker language, or the speaker utterance. And also the other example, my father asked me to buy some cigarettes. We by Locutionary Act, we not try to understand deeply the language, but by listening the utterance of the speaker, we understand what the speaker want to say, or want the listener to do. And the second is Illocutionary Act. Illocutionary act is the communicative action that is conveyed by the speakers. Illocutions means defining acts such as requesting, giving help, expressing dislike, guessing, showing confused, expressing angry, disbelieving in other emotional and feelings that I have been put in my presentation. So the purpose by studying Illocutionary Act, it can help us to know more the knowledge in understanding the speaker utterance in the certain situation. So, well, when we try to see and understand the utterance of the speaker through the Illocutionary Act, we are just not try to translate what the speakers explain, convey through the speaking, through the language and the utterance, but we try to see more deeper in this case is the intentions of the speakers. So when we try to listen to, or the listener listen to the speakers utterance, or what they speaking about, we catch up the intention or what the speakers wants through the Illocutionary Act. That's the explanation Illocutionary Act when it is conveyed by the Austin. But here John Langshaw try to make more development about the Illocutionary Act. It is not only the emotional and the feeling, but John Langshaw here try to divide it and more focus specifically about the Illocutionary Act. So there are 5 points when we try to understand the Illocutionary Act conveyed by the Austin. The first is about the assertive or representative. So this term is kind of the speech act that is state what the speaker believes to be the case or not. In performing this type of speech act, the speaker represent the word as he or she believe it is, those making the word fit to the word believe. Example here, the earth is flat. and also Ottawa. Ottawa is the capital city of Canada. Um, when we try to understand the assertive or representative through John Searle's idea about the Illocutionary Act, uh, this point try to um, make uh, make uh, things is true, and also can be responsible. So the speakers try to do a research first before the speakers try to convey his or her utterance to the listener. As we can see, as the first example is the earth is flat, and also Ottawa is the capital city of the Canada. Of course, the speaker try to make a research first, that is all the statements coming through the speaker is true. And the second is directive. When we try to understand directive, so this point is kinds of the speech act that represent attempts by the speakers to get the addresses to do something. It expresses the speaker's desire or wish for the address to do something. Example include requests, commands, and invitation. So when we try to understand what the point of directives John Searle's tried to convey, I think it's almost has the same idea with the uh, Austin idea about the Illocutionary Act in general. So this point um, try to make the listener to do something by the utterance of the speaker. As we can see in the example here, the first is give me a cup of coffee, and the second make it black, please. As we can see in the first example, the speaker wants the listener to do an action. In here, the speaker wants the listener hand a cup of coffee to him or her. And the second, and also when we see the sentence make it black, please, it means there is a desire or a wish that the listener try to convey to the listener. So the listener wants uh, maybe can make the color of the painting to make it black, or the other terms. So here, as we can see clearly, there is a desire or wish of the speaker wants the listener to do something. And the third point is about the commissive. As John Searle tried to state here, commissive are those illocutionary acts whose point is to commit the speaker to some future course of action. They express what the speaker intends in using the commissive. The speaker undertakes to make the word fit the words. As we can see the example here, I'll be back and I will drop you to school. So when we try to understand what the commissive about, it's about the speaker's intentions when they try to convey the utterance through the language while they speaking to the listener. But in the commissive, it's mean they there is an expression about the intention. Maybe, as we can see from the example, is about the promises. Perhaps it can be similar to the intention or the feeling or the emotion of the speakers. Of course, as we can see here, the word or the verb will here as the promise of the speakers. The fourth is expressive. Expressive is kind of speech act that states what the speaker feels. According to John Searle, the illocutionary point of this class is to express the psychological state specified in the sincerity condition about the state of affairs specified in the proportional content. So expressive is a live express psychological states, and it can be statements of pleasure, pain, like, dislike, or sorrow. As we can see, the definition of the expressive point by the John Sarley's idea about the Illocutionary Act, it's also almost the same with the idea of the Illocutionary Act conveyed by the Austin. It's about the feeling, it's about the emotion of the speakers. So here the speakers to um, try to state a feeling, what they feel about through the language in the utterance, which is conveyed by the speakers. As here we can see the example as, I'm really sorry, I'm sorry for missing your birthday. Here the speakers want to convey an apology to the listener, as we can see clearly. And the last point is declarative. Speech acts is the cause something to happen or create a change in the world. In other words, it is a statement that change the situation immediately within the context. Here's we can make an underline is about the change situation immediately, which is when we talk about the declarative point in the Illocutionary Act, which is conveyed by John Sarley. There is a level between the speakers and the listeners, and of course the level of the speaker is higher than the listener, as we can see here in the example when the priest tried to make a statement to the in the wedding party, maybe when the priest tried to state, I now pronounce you a husband and wife. And also when a manager try to make a statement about fire someone by saying you are fired. And also a judge when saying you are guilty and sentenced 6 years of prison, it means the level of the speaker is higher than the listener. So that's about the Illocutionary Act, which is conveyed by the Austin and John Sarley. Also tried to make a development about the Illocutionary Act. And now we try to go back to the Perlocutionary Act, which is the third component of the Austin's theory about the Speech Act. Perlocutionary Act is the act of causing a certain effect on the hearer, which is carried out by a speaker. It is the effect of the utterance which the speaker saying something to the listener. As I say and explain in the previous explanation about the Perlocutionary Act, it is the effect of the speaker's utterance to the listeners. It means there is an action through the language, which is what the speakers wants to the listeners. And then when the listeners hear the speaker's language or the speaker's utterance, they would like to do an action or to do something immediately. Example here, I am very hungry, but I forget bringing my wallet in my bag. And the explanation here, the speaker doesn't only tell the hearer that she is hungry, but also mention that she forgets to brings her wallet. And the effect that the utterance is that the hearer will lend some money to the speaker and buy some food. Even though the speakers through the example, even though the speakers not directly saying that I don't have money, I forget to bring some money with me, but when the listeners hear the statement from the speakers hears, but I forget bringing my wallet in my bag, the action here means that the listener try to pay all of the food regarding in this condition, perhaps in the restaurant or in the cafe. So I think it is very clear. Perlocutionary Act is about the action, and the action here is very specifically focused on the listener. And to sum up, um, when we try to speak or discuss about the locution, it's mean the words that are uttered or written, which is coming from the speakers. And elocution is also the speakers or writer's intention. It is not only the language or the utterance, but also we try to reach the meaning of the utterance deeper and deeply. So we try to find the intention of the utterance through the language of the speakers. And the last is perlocution. It means the intended effect, which is focused the listeners when they are listen to the utterance, which is conveyed by the speakers. Um, so before we try to close up this presentation, I put some examples of the sentence that we can analyze through the speech act theory. So here's I put an example, like there is someone knocking, would you open the door? It is a question mark sentence which is conveyed by the speakers. Uh, we can analyze here through the speech act theory, which is conveyed by the Austin, through the locution. When we see this sentence through the locution theory, it means there is someone or a guest coming and the door was still closed. So we can see explicitly through the utterance of the speakers, through the language of the speakers. It means there is someone knocking and then the door is not open or the door is closed. And the second, when we try to discover this sentence or the utterance through the elocution theory, it means that this statement that's coming from the speakers is try to inform or request or to command the someone in the same places as we try to make to commit with the elocution. It's mean there is an intention which is we can find in the speaker's utterance. And the last, when we try to see this statement through perlocution, it's mean there will be an action which is focused to the listener. So when the listener hear this statement or this language, it means the listener will find the key and open the door and let the guest come in. So this is exactly the basic or the sample, the simple example when we try to analyze the utterance through the speech act theory. So maybe we can go to the another example that is more complex. Here I put the one of the political speech by Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono. As we can see here, there is a statement when the president, which is here the Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, make a political speech in front of the people. The first, his political speech, he was saying, now I will say something else that is no less important, namely about the importance of civilized politics in our country. So when we hear and try to understand and analyze this statement using the speech act theory, it's mean this statement is kind of illocutionary act, but we can make it more focused by using the John Searle theory and concluded to assertive or reporting, because here, as we can see, the president Bambang Yudhoyono try to speak about a thing, speak about the important things about the civilized politics in the country Indonesia. And the second is when the president Bambang Yudhoyono through his political speech he was saying the essence of the civilized politics is the existence of powers that are trustworthy and not corrupt, in the sense that they are not abused, the guarantee of people's political rights, including freedom of the speech, a democracy that is orderly, not anarchic, and law abiding and independent, but also responsible press. It is also kind of the Illocutionary Act, but when we try to understand this sentence more deeply through the John Sadley theory, it is also the assertive, kind of the assertive uh, Illocutionary Act, but it is uh, about stating, about stating. Uh, as we can see, here's clearly, perhaps the speakers, in this case here Bambang Yudhoyono, have the statement regarding to the freedom of speech, democracy, anarchy, and law abiding. And of course, he will have a data when he try to discuss and convey this statement. Well, so that's all about my presentation regarding to the Speech Act. I hope and I wish this topic would sharpen our understanding and knowledge about the pragmatics in terms of the Speech Act. I hope you can understand what I try to explain and try to discuss in my presentation. And thank you so much, and see ya.